All right, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just got a double dose of offseason good news. Honestly, just good news in the offseason, and it's nothing new. It's just that time of year where we come in June and we do rankings, and not me personally, but we do rankings, and all the different sites are coming out there looking at stuff, and I like sites that actually use some data, right? So PFF came out with its best rankings at different positions. I'm going to talk about the best position that they believe this team has. Not only that, but I'm also going to talk about how I think it's the best in the NFL. With that being said, we're also going to look at your overall roster and look at the talent level, because I think it's even higher than it was last year. And last year you had pretty high talent and a pretty good season. So I'm really excited to see what the Bucs do. Hey, if you are new to this channel, my name is Craig. My buddy Chris and I started this channel a few years ago. It's not our first one. We're actually Detroit Lions fans. And we started this a channel called Sports Talk Detroit, but wanted to talk about NFL teams that the national media seems to ignore. We feel like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, honestly, the whole NFC South kind of falls into that same kind of national media void, I guess, or hole. So we want to talk about the Bucs, all right? And we love what the team is doing. We love how they retooled and continued to put together a phenomenal football team post Tom Brady. Absolutely love it. So let's go ahead and talk about it. What position do you think it is? You can hit the pause button right now. You can hit pause and then resume the video. What position do you think is your strongest position group going into the 2025 NFL season? Well, PFF came out and they made it really clear. It is your wide receivers. Now, I want to make sure something is known and that it's important. This is a rankings of receiving corps. All right? So it's not just wide receivers. It is anybody who is catching a football for a team. Philadelphia came in as number one. They earned a team 79.1 PFF receiving grade last season. The number two team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But guess what? They also earned a 79.1. Did I say 97? 79.1 PFF receiving grade in 2024. Now, here's the question I have for all of you. Sometimes people are like, oh, PFF, I don't know. If you were to rank receiving corps in the NFL, don't tell me that 1, 2, 3 wouldn't be Philly, Tampa, Cincinnati. Like, of course you would rate them as 1, 2, 3. Of course you would rate them as 1, 2, 3. And then the Detroit Lions, that's who I'd put at 4. You know that's my team. And then San Francisco at 5. This is not a crazy rating system. All right, now, Minnesota better be next at 6. But this is why I go there. So why did Philadelphia get the top spot, or why did they not say it's a tie for the number 1? All right, they went with this, and here's what they thought was. All right, the Buccaneers win the depth battle, though. All right, he said even though they got the exact same grade, Philly's top pass catching options all placed ahead of their Tampa Bay counterparts. In other words, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith received higher grades than did Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. It says, however, the Bucs win the depth battle as Emeka Egbuka, Jalen McMillan, and Rachaad White make for the deepest receiving core in the NFL. Evans, Godwin, Bucky Irving were all top 15 players in PFF receiving grade among qualifiers at their position in 2024. Here's what I think's amazing. With this rating system, they aren't even taking into effect, because I've been looking at a lot of the rating systems that PFF does. They don't care about rookies because they have no actual grade to put on them. They can try and look at their college grade. What's that going to look like? They don't have a grade on them. When I was looking at running back rooms, right? Like team number 29 was the Cleveland Browns, which is another team we talk about here. Look, they just got 2 really good rookies that they drafted, I believe, in the 2nd and 3rd or 4th round. And they have Jerome Ford coming back, but they ranked him as the 29th rated running back room because they're all rookies. They're unproven. I wouldn't put them at 29th. I'd put them ahead of a bunch of teams because running backs really do transfer pretty well. Emeka Egbuka comes from a line of Ohio State wide receivers where, quite frankly, I don't think one's failed. I don't know if one has failed. I think there were questions about Jackson Smith Egbuka, like, will he make it as a good player? Because year one was rough. The start to last year was kind of rough. And now dude's balling out, or is it year three? But he balled out last year, and he was so good that they were like, all right, DK, we'll see ya. All right, Tyler Lockett, see you later. We've got him. Now, yeah, they brought in Cooper Kupp, the oft-injured one. But here's the thing that we have to look at. Emeka Egbuka is going to be a good player. This is a dude that they got, and yes, they re-signed Chris Godwin. Yes, I think he will get back to health. I don't know if he'll be back to health right away. And I think they brought in Egbuka because he is a better McMillan. It's that simple. And Godwin and Mike Evans aren't going to be here forever, so they need to continue to improve the receiving core, which is what allows it to be, honestly, one of the deepest ones yet. But here's what I actually kind of got excited about. For you as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan. All right? The overall PFF ranking. All right? And Philly's won. All right? And you might get frustrated with this ranking, but I'm here to tell you don't be. All right? Because I think they misjudged something as well. Philly's 1, Baltimore 2. All right, these make sense. Detroit comes in at number 3. This was before Frank Ragnow retired. Kansas City 4. All these make sense. Bills at 5. Like, these are your powerhouse players, right? This makes sense. The question is, who's going to make it in the top 10 that is going to be that roster that's almost a sure playoff lock? The Rams come in at 6, which is interesting to see them up there. I'd put Tampa Bay's roster ahead of LA's roster. That's just me, though. All right, Houston at 7. Playoffs each of the last 2 years, 12-5 record. Totally makes sense. Minnesota comes in at 8, and you're starting to wonder, where's Tampa Bay? Denver at 9, Tampa at 10. And it talks about your biggest strengths back into 2024. All right, your offensive balance. Could not agree more with that. Huge strength. Your weakness was your pass defense. Now, I don't think, and this is why I'm so excited about this, I don't think that pass defense is going to be as big of an issue. You still bring back all your corners, right? Plus, your second-round pick that had season-ending hip surgery last year is back. Benjamin Morrison, all right? He could become a huge X factor for this team this year. It could completely change the look of this defense. I truly think it could. Antoine Winfield Jr. was hurt. He did not have his usual year last year. He'll be back. So your biggest question mark or your biggest weakness from last year, I think, is going to turn into a strength this year. And when I look at these rankings, it would be very easy for me to put Tampa Bay ahead of Minnesota, ahead of Denver, for sure, and ahead of LA, which puts them at 7 in my mind when you look at what kind of a quality overall roster looks like. Not to mention, if your biggest weakness and your biggest question marks are all happening on the defensive side of the ball, you have a defensive-minded head coach. Your defense has been good every year, at least decent, all right? And I think it will be back to good this year because your secondary is going to be healthy and there's more talent. All right, hey, thank you for watching. Hope to see you on the next one. And hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. See you.